So a little bit of information about this video you're about to watch here is that this is not a big positive, inspiring video. This is actually a little bit of the opposite. It's a Debbie Downer. So this is about looking up to idols, and when they turn out not to be the people that you hope they were, and just dealing and getting something that's amazing that you kind of worked for your whole life to get to, and it didn't work out. Anyway, this video explains a lot about how I was getting this big motor from this worldwide company, and I was really excited for it, and it didn't work out, and it kind of does everything in detail to best I could. Remember, there's always two sides to every story. This is my side, and that I just don't want, it's a 20-minute video, so there's a lot of people here that may not be interested in watching a 20-minute video. I know there's a lot of people that are love our sport and are interested. So just a heads up, that's what this video is. Hey, this is Nick with Behind Bars Racing, Fordzilla Rock Bouncer. I wanted to give you guys a little update of my motor situation. I think it's important, as I've been talking about it for more than a year. So as a lot of people know, we were having a motor built by one of the most well-known engine builders in the Ford, engine builders that build Ford big blocks. They're worldwide known. They are literally one of the biggest manufacturers of aftermarket parts, and kind of in Ford motorsport history. The people that I've looked up to and been a big fan of basically my whole life as a Ford fan. So with that, I mean, this is a hard story to tell. I have a lot of people and friends that have helped me and work with me, and that are all over in the aftermarket world of racing. Big brands, big even billion-dollar corporations that these people work for. They know the ins and outs. They know a lot of the people that were involved in this engine company. I don't want to state their name because I don't feel that's fair. There's always two sides to a story, and truthfully, they didn't get to where they're at by being a crappy company. So just my situation wasn't the greatest. So moral of the story is I got to a point in my rock bouncing career where I know I needed a bigger and more powerful motor. My machine, Fordzilla, is literally, as far as I'm concerned, it couldn't be any better. It is built with the best components, some of the best fab work, some of the best minds. I mean, it's a collaboration of some of the best people in the sport, and I think it's the best. And to be honest, the only thing that I think it was missing was big horsepower. It did have big horsepower in the past before, not when I owned it, but when like Jake Pike owned it, and I mean, we all seen how it performed and how great it was then. So anyway, with that said, I knew that there was one person that was above and beyond all of them, and that's the company that I went for. I went for that company. I reached out to them with a telephone call, and I honestly think it took about 2 calls to get through. When I got through, I spoke with a gentleman, and we talked about what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do it, and he was unaware of our sport and what we did. So I had to send him a bunch of information. I sent him videos, sent him pictures, walk-arounds of the buggy. I mean, kind of a little bit of everything, so he could get an overall view of what we were doing, how I drove, how I use it. I had some questions like running dry sump, cubic inch. You know, I wanted to go really big. I was kind of leaning towards more like the 700-800 cubic inch area, possibly even 1,000 cubic inch. I wanted to go naturally aspirated, and that's what I was looking for. Gave him that plethora of information, and waited to hear back. I would say it would have been 2 months or so went by, and I hadn't heard nothing, so I called back again. Spoke with the gentleman. He said he had looked it all over, and he was still digging around on some of the details on what would be best for me. Though he was very busy, and I believe him, he is very busy. So we left it at that. Another week went by. I called. He had said he had found some information, and we spoke. We would speak just in an hour or two later, which we did. He kind of went through what he recommended. He recommended a 600 cubic inch motor, naturally aspirated. We were gonna bring down the overall height of the motor significantly, and with doing that, we were going to lower horsepower. So he said reliably and confidently that he would be able to stay in that 1,000 to 1,100 horsepower range, which I was happy with. We went with that route, and I answered a couple more questions, and that was that. When I left that phone call, I thought the process was starting. I had not put any money down. I didn't even ask about that because I thought we were on the same page. Let's see. It would have been 2 months later. I thought, I better call and check and see. I haven't heard nothing. I called and checked, and he said, well, they were getting to it, and they were working towards that. At that time, that was becoming the end of my work season, and what that means what that means in this story is that's when my money slows down, gets tight, and I have to budget and make good choices. So money is not readily available. From there, I never made another call. When I spoke with the gentleman, he did say that we're making progress. We haven't started any of the build, anything like that, and I did not speak with him again. So 5 months goes by, and now it's springtime, and racing season is getting rolling, and so is work. Money starts to come back in. Of course, Nick starts to get antsy, and I speak with a different gentleman. I come to find out that the gentleman that I had worked with in the past was no longer employed at this place. We spoke. The first name of the gentleman that I was working with was Doug. We spoke with Doug. Doug was unaware of a lot of what I had going on, other than that I had some interests. I brought up to Doug, I was hoping to have this motor, soon, maybe in the next couple months. And Doug said, well, I don't even know really what all was involved. And I said, well, I've put no money down. I just assumed the process was going on the way that we talked. If I got to put money down, he said, oh, absolutely, you have to. We don't even consider a build without putting money down. And I thought, well, that was odd. That was never brought to my attention. But whatever. So we moved on. So I sent him a sizable deposit, wired the money to him. They received it, and I called same week, and we went through details of what I was looking for, what I wanted. Doug assured me that things were good and we were going to get rolling, and he thought it would be a couple months, till to finish out the build. So fast forward, I think we fast forwarded 3 or 4 months. I had made 2 calls in that time period, spread out evenly, to which I spoke with a person on the other line. And I was just told that they would call me back. They would be in contact with Doug, and they would call me back. That did not happen. On the 3rd call, which I called, and I voiced my frustration in a professional manner. I said, I really need to talk to him. I said, I got a lot of money invested. I've heard nothing. I've been promised calls. Doug got on the line and told me where we were at. He said, we're working on it. We have parts ordered and this and that. And he said the biggest problem that I had in that time was that the aluminum block that I wanted to go with was unavailable. I said, okay, well, I really want that aluminum block. So we're going to just hold off and wait for that. They said they had everything else and things were going well with everything else. And as soon as they got that block, they could get started. We fast forward another 4 months, and in that time I had made no calls. I call and speak with Doug on it, and he says, no, we still don't have that aluminum block. So I say, okay, well, we're getting into the time frame here where this is going to negatively affect my racing. I would like to make a change. What blocks do we have that we can use? So they had an A460 block. We switched to this A460 block. And he says, well, that shouldn't be too much of a problem. We could probably that'll really help us. And I took that as well, we can get building on it. A week goes by. I'm excited because I've had so much money invested for so long and we haven't made any progress. I call again and Doug says, well, there's a problem. We have to change pistons from going from an aluminum block to a steel block. So we're going to make an order on those and it'll be dependent on how fast we can get pistons. And I said, oh, okay. And then we talked a little bit about the intake. As time goes by more, I think it was 3 weeks, time goes by and I make a call to them, get the operator there, and he's very professional, but Doug's not available, so I ask him to call me back. I think it's another 3 weeks. Again, call and leave a message for him to call me back, to no reply. And then I think it was a month. And I know this sounds ridiculous when I'm repeating this, and it does sound ridiculous to me. But this is kind of one of those things where you go through. I've worked with enough engine builders to know there's a tremendous process to building. There's a tremendous amount of ordering and parts are hard to get, and good parts are hard to get. So I know all that. And to be honest, this company I idolize them. This is what I feel like the last piece of the puzzle to complete Fordzilla, to make it the ultimate Ford-powered rig with the best parts, the best of everything. So I am truly giving them the benefit of the doubt. When I do get in contact with them, this next phone call, Doug brings up to me that now they have these aluminum blocks available. And I said, well, that makes sense to me. We already have the pistons for the aluminum block. Let's use that. He says, I agree. So we switch back to the aluminum block. Now that's our plan. Now in my head, I think we're moving forward. We're making progress. We have everything we need. 1 week goes by and I call and I don't get through, but Doug does call me back. And he says that, yeah, we're making progress. We have everything we need. We got to get this manifold built. And the way I understood it is they subbed the manifold builds out. These manifolds for these big block Fords, they didn't come with fuel injection, at least not the kind that we can use for the most horsepower. And they're custom built. The injectors are machined into it. I guess a little, at that time I was starting to get a little overwhelmed. I didn't show it, I don't believe, but I did ask, because of all the miscommunications, that we could start an email chain. And I said, is it okay from now on? I said, well, I'll email you. That'll make it so we don't have to play phone tag so much. I'm a busy guy as well. I should say that I missed many calls that Doug called back as well, but not near as many as they missed of mine. But I thought it would be best, let's start an email chain so we can keep our communication straight, honest, with dates, times, all that. Because I was starting, now looking back on it, speaking it out loud, I was starting to lose trust in the situation. Doug agreed, and right when I hung up the phone, I sent an email out explaining the situation, where we were at, what we were doing, and what he had said, to which I got no response. I waited 1 week and I called Doug again and I asked him if he had gotten my email, which he said he did. And I said, well, I got no response. And he said, oh, yep, I will respond. I'm a busy guy and this and that. So I left the situation at that and kind of touched base on where we were at. And he says, well, we're just waiting on them to manufacture this intake, and we should be good. Well, I'll be honest with you, the situation just got worse and worse and worse. From then on, I think I gave him a full month again with no communication, no calling, no nothing, and I never heard anything. In the meantime here, I started reaching out to the people that I knew that they buy parts from, that do manufacturing for them. Some very well-known people. I'm definitely not going to say no names because everybody had good intentions. Nobody here has bad intentions when they recommend somebody. But these people were like, well, let me get in touch. I know there's some changes that are happening in the company and some other people helping, run the company and this and that. And I don't know. And I said, do you think it's something about me? Do you think the sport of rock bouncing they don't want to be interested in? Do you think my money, what I'm purchasing here is small potatoes, for this company that is this size? Do you think there's anything that leads you to believe that there's something about me that I'm doing wrong with them? And they said, no, we think that's very odd. So this, just let us reach out. And I wanna say, you people seeing this online, you'll probably be some of those people. I do appreciate you and everything you did because I know you did reach out and I know you did dig into this a little bit. But it made no difference. There was nothing any different. My next communication with Doug, when I reached out and got a hold of him, I said, hey, where are we? And why no response to the emails? I mean, what are we going on? So all these emails that I'd sent, there was never a response. Very frustrating. And I asked, I kind of crossed the line of professionalism and started saying, is this something personal? Is this something do you have me confused as somebody that you dislike? Is what I'm buying here too small of like a total package that is just not interesting? And why I say that is for a lot of you people that don't know is the motors and the stuff that they're involved in. I mean, we're talking, I would, I'm just guessing. I don't know any of their business, but I would have to assume that their average engine build is probably $120,000 to $150,000. I know they have motors that are custom motors that cost tremendous amounts more than that. And what I'm doing here, which is extremely large in my world, we're talking about less than $60,000. I'm just going with the most obvious things, and that's why these people were unwilling to deal with me, or make this work. So with all that, I went through all this with Doug, and Doug assured me that this was not a personal issue. There was no issue. That's what he assured me. I mean, that this was not anything to do with the sport. This was not anything to do with basically anything. That the money wasn't the issue, nothing. So I don't know. I felt a little more confident and comfortable at that point in time, and we moved forward. And it just we never got anywhere. I think another month had went by, and I had no communication, nothing, and I really thought that I would hear something after that. And I reached out, and that's when it was apparent to me that Doug had lost control of what he'd been telling me. And I pointed that out, and I said, no, you're confused. You had already told me that we had pistons, because he had said about not having the pistons. And he said, no, well, we had a quality control issue, and we need to get some new pistons. So I take that however you want to take it. I really asked a lot and never got anywhere. And then the next time that I spoke with them, they not only didn't have the pistons, but they were just going to send or ask for the manifold to be built, which I was already told the manifold was being built many months prior. So that's when I became a parent, and the more I thought about it, I thought, oh my gosh, I got such a tremendous amount of money invested here, and I have been told all this stuff, and it's starting to come full circle, and nothing's lining up with what was said originally. I have done my part as a responsible person and created an email chain so the person I'm dealing with can keep control of what they're telling me and what they're supposed to be doing, and they won't respond to that. I slept on it, and I mean everybody, my entire team. I have 6 people that I work with Fordzilla that help me and point me in the right directions and try and make the best of my racing, all telling me, this is ridiculous, Nick. You need to fly out there. You need to go to their shop and meet these people and call them out on this. You need to make this, you need to turn this into a bigger deal. They're taking advantage of you. And I'm not that guy. I ain't doing that. I ain't doing that stuff. And I'm kind of to the point in my life where I feel like that just about anybody that I deal with in the real world, everybody likes me. I'm fair and honest, and I give people more chances than most people. So what I truly thought to myself, if I gotta fly down to Georgia and they gotta meet me and like me in order to get my way, they are not the people that I need to be dealing with. So at that point, I made the decision. I'm calling them and I'm gonna demand my money back. And I didn't demand. I pointed out all these flaws. I went through everything with Doug. I pointed out that nothing's lining up. They've basically lost track of what they were telling me and what they were supposed to be doing, and that they have never done. And we talked a little bit, and I know it was a letdown, but I had nothing. I had nothing except no money. And that's ridiculous. So I made it clear to Doug that I wanted my money back. And Doug, very professional. I got to give him that. Very professional. He did what he said, and he said, "Well, let me talk to the boss and make sure that this is clear, and we'll see if we can get you your money back." And deep down in my heart, I knew that he made some statements about, well, we got all these parts, and we don't know what to do with them. And I said, well, I know you're a big motor company, and I know you're a manufacturer that sells, and I know what I'm building is not a custom thing. It's a fairly common motor, so it should be fairly easy to get your money back on those. And I was waiting for him to say something about the custom manifold, which I knew had never even been started, but he didn't, so that was good, and we left it at that. 1 week went by, no communication, and I reached out to him again, and Doug had assured me that 90% of all of it they should be able to take care of, and they were just waiting to hear back from the owner or boss that our last couple parts, I could be refunded fully. I expanded a little bit on my thoughts on everything, and I'm not a dummy. So I expanded on what I thought about everything, and I want to be very clear. I was never an asshole or unprofessional. I simply stated exactly what happened, and I did have my wits about me, so I was on top of my game. And Doug was professional with listening to me, and we went from there. I want to say the very next week I had heard nothing, so I called again. Spoke with Doug, and Doug assured me that they were going to send a check with a full refund. Moral of the story from here on out, we're 22 minutes in, which there's a lot more to this. I'm just giving you it all. As I received my check, which I did ask, I said, I wired my money. Can you just wire it back so I can, not delay. I know this business crap about how you delay getting your money and the mail and all this. But I'm the guy here on the short leash now, so because they have the money. I didn't get it wired back. He said they'd send a check, and I got a check. I cashed it and got my money back. So that's the story about how the big motor that I wanted and was buying, which was real, that's how it never worked out, and I didn't get. In the process, what I did find in the meantime and had to is I started working with Andy Olson. Andy Olson, he's been there ever since I outgrew my first motor builder, he's been there for me. He's local. He's right down the road, and he truly has went out of his way. We've had some motor failures from him, but I'll be honest with you, they're failures that came from him helping me for 24, 36 hours, trying to build a motor for a day and a half, 2 days straight to make me be able to make a race. So as far as I'm concerned, anybody that's willing to try that hard and work that hard is a friend of mine and a part of my team. So that's who we're working with now. That's who this new 530 cubic inch motor is that's been running so good, and we've been very impressed by. This motor makes somewhere between 100 to 150 more horsepower than our last motor that we ran last season. It's just, so far, it's great. And I have somebody that's honest and willing to work with me. So that's where I'm at with the new motors. Unfortunately, your idols are sometimes not the people you think they are. So just wanted to give everybody an update. It's not the greatest update. I'm not proud of it, but that's the way life is, and we move on. So, all right, thanks, guys. Remember, Behind Bars Racing, Fordzilla. This is our big motor story. So, all right, we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.